Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. I wanted to do a special video on just some really cool comics from my collection that are from the Golden Age. I just wanted to show you 5 books from the Golden Age that are kind of cool. I just wanted to show you these and maybe kind of highlight them a bit more than I typically do when I do my unboxings or when I do my spec books or those kind of things, videos. I kind of want to just focus on these books, show you a little bit about them, tell you a little bit of the history behind them, and hopefully, get you interested in the Golden Age. So I brought 5 books, and I'm going to show you some of the ones that these. It's not necessarily that these are the particular books that you have to get from these series, but it is a series of comics. So this is the first one I wanted to show. Jungle Comics number 52. And why this book in particular? Well, this is, I have a bunch of Jungle comics. Jungle Comics, there's like over 160 issues. So it was a great series. It was a Golden Age series. It featured a lot of this kind of sexy good girl bondage art on the covers, and that's what most collectors seek when they buy this series, is that good girl art cover. And it's just a fun comic. And the great thing about this one, and the reason I like it so much, is it's got 3 elements. Okay, and I'll tell you what those 3 elements are. It has the girl in bondage. That's that's always good. And she's obviously very pretty. Wearing the bikini. I don't know why. Always it's like these leopard skin bikinis in these Jungle books. And you got a situation where not only is she in bondage, and then she's in a situation of peril. So you got this crocodile, and it's just about to eat her, like it's about to snap down on her. And so those are the first 2 elements. You got the girl in bondage, she's in peril. And then you got the last element, which is this hero swinging down and, going to rescue her at the last moment. So you get that action element. So these are the 3 elements that I look for in a great cover. Great, cover from this series. So there's a bunch that actually meet these criteria, and there's others that are even better, that have even more elements that I look for. The skulls, the knife, the even more peril kind of situation too. So there's a lot of really great elements to look for in the Jungle comics. So I'm just hoping that me talking about this will maybe encourage you to look through and see if you can find some really great covers from the Golden Age in this series. So I would say there's at least a good 50 or 60 books within that title that are really worth getting just for the cover alone. And the stories are kind of fun too. So that's an aside. Another great title, and I think this is a title that sort of is a bit under the radar, but this particular book is not. It's kind of weird that way, and it's this one, Fighting Yank. And this book in particular is quite expensive. It's probably the most expensive from the Fighting Yank series. And the reason being, it has like these hooded figures and the woman in the red dress. Again, you'll notice the same elements that we saw in the Jungle comics. The woman's in peril. She's not in real bondage, but she is being held. And you got the peril being instead of the crocodile, it's the snake, the cobra about to bite her. And then you got the hero in the background, the 3rd element. And the hero's like charging in and going to rescue her. So you got all these interesting elements within this book. And I would say the extra element is that hooded figure. People love these kind of controversial covers, like where it's like punching Nazis or hooded figures. And this is an example of that. Another element that this book has that the other one didn't is the woman in the red dress. This is a very interesting element that which is kind of weird from the Golden Age, that you see a lot of these women in the red. And it's just something about that is a bit of a red dress is a different has a different nature to it. It has a bit of that fiery personality to it, sexualization of the woman. So I think that's one of the things that really draws the eye. And so this comic has all of those wonderful elements, and it's a highly prized book. So this is one that you can expect to pay anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, even in a very low grade like this. So that's the next series. So Fighting Yank, highly overrated, underrated. There's a lot within that series that you can pick up fairly affordably. So definitely one to check out. Okay, so then, and oh, that was an Alex Schomburg cover too. So that's another great thing to look for. Speaking of Alex Schomburg, here's another series that is maybe not completely overlooked, but it is one that doesn't command as much as it probably should. Like if you look at Startling Comics, okay, Startling Comics is the one with the Bender cover. That, that's like a $10,000 book. It's like really quite pricey. But some of the covers in Wonder Comics are equally as great. So there's some really, and they're all Alex Schomburg covers. So we got, again, the woman in red. She's she's not in bondage though, but she is in peril. This kind of peril situation. You got the hero in the back, kind of charging in. A lot of Alex Schomburg's art has those kind of elements. You'll where there's always this bad guy. I would say this is the bad guy, and he's kind of like putting the girl into peril, and you got the hero kind of charging in the background. But the focus generally with a lot of these ones is the woman. She is the central figure in terms of the art and the style. And you'll notice that with some of his more famous pieces that they have those elements. So definitely something to look for. These are, as I said, that the Bender cover would go for around $10,000. Well, these you can have for under $1,000 usually. Anywhere from $500 to $1,000 is usually a fair price. There are a few key issues that are a little bit more pricey, obviously, but they are for the most part fairly affordable. The series Wonder Comics ran from 1 to 20. This is the last issue, and it's just a really great series. And sometimes you can I actually won one of the series for, I think it was like $200-$300. You can win them sometimes in auctions. People just don't realize what it is, and they don't realize the significance behind it. A lot of the Wonder Comics also, Alex Schomburg, who's the artist, he would sign his name Zella, which is Zela, which is just Alex backwards. So that's another really great feature of these comics. So that's the third one. And I really feel like what I love collecting from the Golden Age is, and you'll notice this with all the books that I showed so far, there's always this very common theme, is women. And I especially liked women superheroes. Now, the women superheroes of the Golden Age didn't have, for the most part, superpowers. Except, obviously Wonder Woman. She definitely had superpowers. But most of them were more like crime detectives or kind of similar to Batman, without as many gadgets as he had. If you look at like Phantom Lady, she had like her little compact that would blind the bad guys. Well, Blonde Phantom is one of those characters that is kind of highly sought after by collectors. These books are a little bit more pricey, but just a really great female superhero. And generally what the female superheroes had, and there was like a lot of elements to the female superheroes, was they would have a few common traits. One of them is they were generally women of society. So they were fairly wealthy, kind of socialites, and that would be their normal behavior. So similar to Batman in that respect. And then they would wear their mask. So you can see that she's wearing like a little black mask, and somehow that would hide their identity, similar to Superman in that respect. And they would generally have their costume that they would wear. And this is what Blonde Phantom's costume looked like. And generally, they would just they would know a little bit of martial arts, and they would have a gun or some kind of weapon to help them in their pursuits. So this particular comic, has a lot of really great elements. You have the woman is in the foreground. You have the bad guy in the background, and she's in the process of rescuing her main man. And he's in bondage, which is a little bit of a twist because generally it's the women that are in bondage, right? But this is, kind of an interesting cover. But the other thing is a lot of these female superheroes, just like Wonder Woman, would always seem to be ending up in bondage of some kind or other. So you can actually find a lot of covers that have her in bondage as well. So that's kind of another, if you're into bondage, you'd love the Golden Age. So this is just a really great series to pick up. There's other great female characters, but this is just I just want to give you a sense of some of the things that you can look for when you look for Golden Age comics. And this is my fourth pick, which is the Blonde Phantom series. And my last pick, and I feel like, this is sort of an obvious one, and it's sort of one of those ones that they always talk about when they talk about Golden Age, is Golden Age horror. And I feel like I have to show this book because it's kind of like one of those typical Golden Age horrors. It is Terrifying Tales, and this is a late Golden Age book. It's like 1953. It's an L.B. Cole cover. Again, the woman's in bondage. She is the forefront. You got the devil kind of looming over her, and you got the flames around her. And this really showcased a lot of L.B. Cole's great talent, this particular cover, because he was really all about those psychedelic colors, way before psychedelicism even existed. And you got the characters in the background. The sort of like tribal characters in the background. And it looks like they're, either going to sacrifice her to the devil or something's going on. So there's a bit of that storytelling being told within the cover. And this is issue number 13, lucky number 13. So there's a lot of great elements to this one in particular. But this whole series of Terrifying Tales, often they reprinted earlier Golden Age stories, but they had different covers. And L.B. Cole did a lot of the Terrifying Tales. I believe he did all of the Terrifying Tale covers. And it's just a great series. And if you can find this particular issue, it's definitely one that's highly sought after by collectors. Just a really great series of comics. So that has been my sort of little bit of showcasing or like preview of my collection of some of my favorite Golden Age series and comics. So I hope this has been interesting. If you want me to do more of this kind of style where I just look at a few books and kind of give a little bit about them and a little bit of insight into what to look for when you're collecting these kind of comics, please tell me in the comments below. And if you want me to do more unboxings, tell me, do more unboxings. Just show us the comics. But I have to make this channel somewhat affordable. If I keep on doing unboxings, I'm going to be bankrupt. So I want to do a little bit more of these kind of reviews and showing a bit of my collection that I picked up over the years. So again, thanks for watching, and leave a comment below. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And check me out on Instagram. Thanks again.